everybody. My name is Megan Martin. I'm the Executive Director of the Arts Council of Greater Lansing, here covering the Greater Lansing area of Clinton, Ingham, and Eaton counties. We're so proud to be here today to celebrate this artwork and its unveiling on such a beautiful day. We're excited to coordinate this art program, the Arts Impact Project for the City of Lansing. They're one of the few in our area that actually has a budget item for art in the budget, and we appreciate that so much because the amount of income that you put into art, you get back tenfold with just the livability of our communities and the impact that it has on our citizens. And we're so grateful for the City of Lansing for all that they do to make sure that we have big, impactful pieces like this. We're excited for the artists because they got to do this amazing project to honor the things that they hold dear here in Lansing. And we're going to hear from them today, but I did want to introduce us as the Arts Council of Greater Lansing and have a chance to thank my team at the Arts Council that does a lot of technical assistance. John Gorman does a lot of promotion, and Taylor Hazlett does a lot of technical assistance to make sure that people know that they have access to this grant and that they can dream big and do great things. And right now we're accepting more applicants for the next Arts Impact project. So talk to Taylor Hazlett about that. But it's been a great time getting to know the city over the years and their dedication and the amount that they want to make sure that this is an equitable process, that we find innovative projects, and that we're and that we're really thinking about what the people might want to see on their landscape. So thank you everybody for being here. We're going to hear from the artists, but first I want to hear from the mayor and what he has to say about how much art means to him in the city of Lansing. Mr. Mayor?
All right, well, thank you, Megan. We know the Arts Council did a lot of hard work sifting through a lot of proposals, and it's exciting to see that we have so many people interested in doing art here in Lansing. As I say every time we do things like this, art is something that we made a big priority when I got elected. We want to show off the creatives in our city. We want to show off incredible public art. When you look around just in the last 8 years, you see public art everywhere, from murals to a big mother tree to so many different pieces that make our city look beautiful. Tiles over on Shiawassee Street. And it was exciting that we got a proposal this year for up here in Old Town. We know Old Town is kind of art central, right? It's where a lot of the creatives live and work. A lot of our galleries are here. So it's exciting that we had a proposal right here in Old Town. One of the first things I did when I came into office was to create a task force on art, this mayoral advisory task force, and they came out with some recommendations. They recommended more public art, and how do we do that? They recommended a concert hall, a performing arts center. They made a few recommendations, a recommendation like creating a permanent board and commission in the city of Lansing. And I'm proud to say we've done all those things. And my wife was the chair, so I guess I can give her the credit. But we've got a board that goes through a lot of these things in our Department of Neighborhoods, Arts, and Citizen Engagement, where Delisa Fontaine is the director and doing a great job, and Robin Anderson King is working through that department. So we've done that. We have the Ovation's going to open in a few short months, in about a year. So we've checked that box. And when we look at year after year the different art, things like what we're doing today are so important to our community. So as Megan said, the mayor proposes and the city council approves every year dollars specifically for art. So we put in dollars to make sure that we can do things with a lot of our organizations. We know that the symphony does work. We know that we're able to put money in a lot of these pocket grants for parks and other things, but we also we reserve a good chunk of money for what we call an art impact grant. That one big thing that people are going to see, that everyone's going to see, that is really transformational in an area. So we're really excited to be here with all this behind me. We know that this helps keep our neighborhoods here in Lansing vibrant. Residents see these things and take pride in Lansing as an art capital city, and so I'm thrilled. This year especially is even cooler because the owners here at Friedland continue to tell me about the importance of scrap metal. We know we drive by and we see the scrap, but this is the ultimate recycling, right? This is taking scrap metal and recycling it and reusing it. There's a market, there are economies of it, and the Bass family, Larry Bass and his family, they believe that this, and I believe that this is recycling at its best, making sure that we don't have waste, that we have reuse. So when Jen Estel and Redhead put in their application, and it was recommended to me that we really show the importance of scrap and Scrap Fest, and then have a piece here right on Cedar, right by Friedland, it really made a lot of sense. So I'm really glad that this was the recommendation from the Arts Council. I'm really glad that Jen and her team put in this application. We know that this transforms a 60-foot segment of Friedland Industries east fence line. So what you're seeing right here between Maple and Adams Street into multidisciplinary art, history, education, and it shows the site's legacy and history. So again, I'm thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled that when people are driving by, they're not just going to see a fence, but they're going to see history. When people walk by, as more people come into Old Town and they make their way here with the new apartments and with everything that's going on, we're going to see some new businesses, some exciting new businesses here in Old Town. We're going to see a lot more people living in Old Town with 2 major housing projects. They're going to see this history behind us. So that's probably good for me. You all want me to shut up, but I'm going to invite up Jen Estel, president of Redhead, and have her share how we got here. So thank you, Jen.
All right, I'll try to make it quick because the mayor did a really good job of encapsulating what this is about. I'll tell you, when I was early in my 20s and I had gotten done at MSU and decided to stay in Lansing, I'm puttering around town looking at neighborhoods, and I didn't know what they were called, and Old Town, as it was 20-some years ago, was a very different space anyway. And I drove past here, I was like, what is up with that heap of metal? And I didn't know what Friedland was. I didn't understand how long they'd been here since, forever. Fast forward, I moved to Old Town, we moved our business here, and we realized what a great corporate neighbor Friedland is, and we realized how cool the scrapyard is, and how they've been here through changes through the neighborhood, and they have participated, and they have said yes, and they lift up art, and they help us make and invent new things, and they've been around since Ari Olds was figuring out how to make his cars. And that just felt like Lansing to me, this combination of long history, hard work, manufacturing, reinvention, creativity, and people working together. And that's what I've always loved about Friedland. I was their neighbor. I lived, my office was a block away. And so this idea of telling that story has been living in my head for quite some time. But it's not mine alone, and I did not do this alone. And the interesting thing about this is it's just not one person's piece of art. It is a huge group effort. So I first of all, thank you to John and Josh and the rest of the Friedland team who have been outstanding. Thank you to Redhead, my staff, particularly Allison, where are you? Allison's over here. She's our resident history expert and in a great writer, and so she worked with Friedland to uncover all of this information and craft a story. And then Mo Furland, where's Mo? Mo is one of the designers at Red, and she put so much time into designing this and helping to get it on the wall and coordinating and doing a fantastic job. And the rest of my Redheads too. And then I have 3 other people I really want to talk about who made this possible. And first is Rose Cooper. Everyone knows Rose. She's just the best woman about town, and we love to hear her as she drives by on her motorcycle. But years ago, she made this beautiful poem for us for Scrap Fest, and it's always been in my heart. And this idea of our potential is etched in metal felt really right. So I've kept it, and I said, hey, can we use that poem again for some artwork? She said, sure, because that's what you do with a group of people. The other person I want to point out is Jamie Schreiner Cooper. Jamie Schreiner, oh, I've known you for a long time. Back when we were both wee young professionals, both getting started in Old Town, figuring it out, and she's made this neighborhood what it was and really been helpful in brainstorming here and helping with this and just being that kind of person who's always around to fill in the blanks on a project. And then the one who, of course, I need to thank, and I want to speak if he can, is David Such. I have known David since I was a wee little creative. He's one of the most brilliant men I've known and always willing to come up with something new and say yes. And when you're doing something at Scrapyard and you're doing something related to Scrapfest, David is your first call. I said, hey, I have this idea. And he took that idea and he grew it and he changed it and he added his part, and now his part's 15 feet tall over there, which is cool. So the thing I like about this project is many artists and many creative minds putting something new in a space that was not considered a space for art necessarily. And from a technical placemaking standpoint, I want to point out that it's built to do two things. As cars are coming kind of over the hill very, very, very fast, they get to see two things. This explosion, which David will talk about a little bit, and this message about potential etched in metal and written in stone. So cars can consume that art. But then here, along the fence line, people who are walking by different modalities can interact and get a little bit more out of it. So it's really meant to do those two things while taking a nook that people didn't really know what it was and maybe explaining the history of the space. So that's that. I've got two other people. I want David to talk about the sculpture, and then Rose is going to read us some poetry. David Such, can you come chat?
Hi everybody. I guess what I have to say is thanks to the City of Lansing and thanks to the Arts Council and Redhead for giving me this opportunity, because I come up with crazy stuff all the time in my head, and it's really cool to see it actually turn into something real. And for me, this was like, this represents a spark, like an explosion of ideas, an explosion of like the usefulness of this scrap behind us, and it's I hope it's eye-catching for the people coming in from the DeWitt corridor, so to speak, into Lansing. I also want to just thank I have a silent partner in all this, and that's an engineer named Fred Hammond. And without an engineer, my brainchild would not be possible. He did all the math and figured out how to make that geodesic sphere on top, and I helped do it all, but it was just kind of like, how does this math work? He's got the math brain, and without him this wouldn't be here. So thanks to Fred. That's all for me. Thank you.
All right, I want Rose to read to us, because everybody loves to hear Rose read some poetry, and then we can do whatever we do to be done. Okay, here's you.
So I'm not going to ask you guys if you can hear me, because you hear me all over Lansing. This is wild for me, but wow.
Oh, you know how to deal with it.
Well, potential. A Scrapfest 2014 groove. They call this place a ghost town. They wrote us off, said we had no potential, said we were all used up. They even read our final rights. There's nothing to do here. Nothing. There's nothing here. Nothing at all. Big blank spot. Nothing. And for a while, we did appear broken in the way that metal should never bend. Tossed away like so much rubbish, left to rot, to rest away in the junkyard of faded memories. Proclaimed, that's all she wrote. Abandoned. But the reports of our demise have been greatly exaggerated, because see, they forgot to turn the page. Because we will write our story, because we will determine our fate. Our potential is etched in metal. Our potential is written in stone. And if we are indeed all used up, it's only because someone loved us. It's only because someone polished us. Someone prepared us to stand ready for our triumphant rebirth. Mama Maya said it best. You may write us down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod us in the very dirt, but still, like dust, we'll rise. We'll rise. We'll rise. Thank you.
Got it? All right. We're all going to count backwards for 5, and then Jen and I are going to clap for that. All right, ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, we are here in Old Town, right on Cedar Street, on the edge of Old Town. Really excited about our latest Arts Impact Grant. Every year we do these Art Impact Grant to add more public art to our city and make our city look exciting and more vibrant. We know that many people have heard of Friedland, which is where you go when you have extra scrap metal and you bring it and you can sell it and they recycle it. But we really want to talk about the importance of reusing. We had a proposal for an art project to show the excitement of our metal recycling and our scrap. We have this incredible new feature right here on Cedar, this new art piece. So it's really exciting to talk about one of our great businesses and one of these efforts for metal recycling and scrapping and making sure that we can reuse these products. We do it with so many things, with cars and with all kinds of metal. And so now we're able to showcase that. And this was a grant proposal that was put in and that was successful. And here we are with more public art right here in Old Town. So every year we talk about this. And last year we had the Mother Tree in Hunter Park. And we've had the tiles over on the Shiawassee Bridge. We have murals all around town. And now we've got this incredible exhibit in Old Town that people can see whether they drive by or whether they walk by, talking about Lansing's history, talking about art, talking about scrap and recycling and the origins of Scrap Fest, which is one of our biggest festivals every year, right here. So one more successful Arts Impact Grant from the City of Lansing, and we're going to keep doing this year over year. So we'll see you next year.
When Jen first came to me about doing this with Friedland, to me it was like a spark of potential, an explosion of the possibilities of what's behind the fence. Scrap, I mean, you know, a lot of people think scrap is garbage, when in actuality it's potential, and the possibilities that come from scrap are endless, basically. So to me, this is like a spark of inspiration, a spark of potential, and an explosion of possibility. Okay, so all that metal up there is aluminum.
Okay.
And I guess weight was a big consideration when you're putting something so large up into the air. The geodesic sphere that all those sparks are coming out of, that weighs close to 800 pounds on its own. So we didn't want to add a ton of weight to that, so we used the aluminum, and if we're getting technical, we used the aluminum for the weight factor. And I also, we had everything powder coated, and then I rattle canned we had everything powder coated in orange, and then I rattle canned the yellow highlights into it, just to make it look like more like random and explosion-like. That's the spark that comes down and hits the fence. That's kind of like connects the sculpture to the fence, which connects it to the scrapyard. So it's like one big, like an arm of inspiration, so to speak, or a spark of inspiration that hits the fence and kind of sparks this whole creative fence line and all the words and boards that are along that. And if you look at the fence, you'll see bits of scrap are all intermixed with the information boards. And that was all pre-planned by Mo from Redhead. Well, if I could just be grateful to somebody, a group, and that's Friedland Enterprises. These guys have had my back since 2008. When I first came to them and talked to them about Scrap Fest, they were all over it. And so I've known these guys a long time. And when we came to them with this idea, they didn't say, well, we got to think about it. They just said yes without hesitation. And so they've been a big part of helping us put this up. in making this happen. And Friedland is like one of the best. I mean, you can't ask for a better community member than Friedland Industries, period.
The thing I want to share is that part of loving what I do, I get to be a creative director of an agency, and we get to invent things all the time. And the thing I will say is this town is so full of creative people with great ideas and people who are willing to say yes and collaborate and share their ideas and work on each other's project and support. And nothing great happens if you don't have that. If you don't have creative people who are willing to do a little extra or come up with an idea or lift up someone else's idea. And I appreciate that, and that's what got us to this thing today.